Jamie, it's really good to get you back.
Hello, Matt. It's good to be back. I'm glad you didn't, sack me or anything.
Well, it was touch and go.
Because I heard the podcast and, it was really good and funny, and I thought, oh, am I needed?
The Interplanetary Podcast. The exploration of space for the benefit of all mankind. Your hosts here in London, Matthew Russell and Jamie Franklin.
Yeah, I know. Jake's not normally that funny, is he?
I think he upped his game.
He upped his game. He had to up his game because he had to replace the great Jamie Franklin.
Back off, Jake. Only kidding. You're a lovely guy, and it was very strange listening to it, but yeah, brilliant. We should do some more collabs in future, like. Yeah,
so it's good to get you back, Jamie. I didn't mean any of those things I said on the show.
It's all right.
Oh, Jamie.
All is forgiven.
Did you like the merch that I've been sending you pictures of?
I love the pictures of the merch, and I'm slightly jealous that you've got a T-shirt and a mug, and I haven't.
I know. Well, maybe it'll be a good coming home present.
Oh,
what do you think?
I'd love that. Can I get some interplanetary socks as well?
Oh, I don't know. You can get an interplanetary tote bag. Would that do?
That'll do. Yeah. I'll take
string drawer. Bag.
One of them for me and my mum, please.
I'm working on a sort of faded vintage version, so it's less bright. What do you think? Yeah, more up your Strasser.
No, I don't see you as the hipster space type. I think we should just stick to our roots.
Well, I need to get the professor look. I need to get like a tweed version.
I'll get the faded hipster one.
Yeah, and
you can get the professorial one.
Yeah, it's like a sort of interplanetary tie-pin.
Yeah.
Or a monocle.
I love
interplanetary monocle.
I love it. Hey, Matt.
Yes.
It's the Interplanetary Podcast.
Putting the ace back into space. Whoa. That's pretty epic. I'll tell you what.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. Where are you today, Jamie? Tell the listeners.
Well, I've come back from Italy where I took my mum on a little vacation. You got to treat your mum. Mm-hmm. And I had 1 day's rest, and I've just arrived in the Big Apple.
Oh.
On a little work trip. So I don't feel too sorry for me.
No.
It's weird. I'm looking out of my hotel, and do you know the scene in The Shawshank Redemption where they're all tarring the roof in payment for beers?
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same thing going on, although I don't think they're prisoners.
No.
Right opposite me. So,
well, in some ways, everyone's a prisoner in Trump's United States of America.
Good, Matt. Thanks, good. What a metaphor to start the show with. Dear.
I'm now talking of lunatics. What story did we see this week in the?
Well, it's a really interesting one because obviously this guy's, a bit of a legend, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, we talk about him on the show quite a lot, although we obviously get his name wrong often.
Now, is it pronounced Robert Bigelow or is it Bigelow?
I think we're going with Bigelow.
Are we going with Bigelow?
I think we're going with Bigelow. Yeah.
Well, I like your confidence. I don't share it, but let's go with it. So he's been quoted as saying, "You know what? I'm just gonna
just say what he said.
I'm just gonna bring up one of the quotes. Let's just have a look. So one of NASA's partners has said that he is absolutely convinced aliens exist and that they're living on Earth right now. Robert Bigelow, an entrepreneur who is working closely with NASA on future space missions, has suggested that he knows that our planet has an alien presence that is, and I quote, right under our noses.
Oh my God! It's like he's not just talking about like the probable existence of life in the universe.
He's saying that they're already here, and we don't need to look interstellar.
Yeah.
We just need to look down the road.
Apparently, from what I read, is that it's his grandparents were abducted by aliens. Is that right, or something like that?
Well,
and he's been obsessed ever since.
It might be right that he said it. I won't comment on whether it's fact or not, because as you know, Matt, I need to see peer-reviewed evidence.
Yeah, no, totally.
Just like the aliens that he says is under our nose. I would like to know where the evidence is for that.
Well,
because it would be incredibly exciting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he's bought some. He's bought some land as well, hasn't he? Where this shape-shifting alien lives, apparently. And,
yeah, that's right.
It's like infested with shape-shifting aliens, but you can't see them, of course. So we can't disprove him. I mean,
this is it.
Classic mumbo jumbo, where it's a false positive. You can never prove it wrong. Well, because it's invisible.
What I liked, and this is harping back to our mate Marcus, is he was quoted as telling reporter Lara Logan, "I'm absolutely convinced that aliens exist, and that's all there is to it." It's like,
well, Jamie,
come on,
you make a good point.
Yeah, good point.
No,
I mean,
if you went up to Robert
can't
Bigelow
just say that's all there is to it.
Yeah, no,
that's
it's strange, isn't it, that
void.
Someone that can be such a great scientist, or someone that like pushing the boundaries of space science, can get this so wrong.
Well, this is where it is it's not just a conspiracy theorist. This guy is partners with NASA. His company is partners with NASA on future missions, and he said, and I quote again, "There has been an existing presence, an ET presence, and I spent millions and millions and millions. I probably spent more. I probably spent more as an individual than anybody else in the United States has ever spent on this subject." And she went on to ask him if he thought it was risky to say he believed in such things. And he replied, he doesn't care what people think because it wouldn't change the reality of what I know.
What I know. The reality of what I know.
I'd love to know. Yeah, I'd love to hear what you know.
Oh, wow.
So that's all we're getting for now. It's basically just aliens are under your nose. They've been here forever. And that's it.
Oh, Jamie.
Don't need to say anything else.
Oh, it's crazy. It's quite funny, isn't there? There's quite a few of these entrepreneurs, massive entrepreneurs, that do wonderful things, and then they have this crazy one little thing that makes them, you go, oh, come on.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we were getting along so well. We really liked you.
Yeah. And then they come out with stuff like that. I still like him.
Like was the wrong word.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's
come on,
tricky,
put yourself together, Bigelow.
I just think, what's he going to start doing? Do you think NASA are worried that he's going to start putting sort of,
I don't think
weird things?
I don't think it does his credibility any good. I wonder if share prices in his Bigelow Space Industries went up or down on his interview. Jamie, not only did you miss last week's podcast, but you missed spaceup London.
I was gutted to miss spaceup London. I saw the photos and I read all about the goings on. Yeah. I was well jealous.
No, it was really cool. It was other than the fact that I've really done my knee in, so I was hobbling around, so everyone was looking at me like I was a weirdo.
How did you do that?
I don't know. I was walking around giving a lecture and I've done my knee in. It's just ridiculous. It's so annoying.
What have I told you about wearing sunglasses whilst giving lectures on stairs? Come on, man.
It's just crazy.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, but it was really good fun, and we're kind of like celebrities, Jamie.
What? Really?
Yeah, it was good fun. Lots of people came up to me and said how much they liked the podcast. And there's one fellow who's from the Baker Street Astronomers, which we must go down to. We must go down to for their picnic. He bought me a pint because we're his favourite podcasters.
What?
I know.
So technically, you owe me half of that.
Yeah. So I do owe you half.
That's all right.
I do actually owe you half.
Stick it on my tab. Well, so you mean people actually listen to this 40 minutes of drivel every week?
Define listen.
Yeah, they let it play. In fact, because aren't you running one of them algorithms that basically just clocks up our listens?
Exactly right. That's exactly what I do.
That's what we do.
Let me tell you some of the things you missed. You missed a guy called Tom Kerrs from the Royal Observatory in Greenwich. And he was telling us all about the origins of the universe. That was really cool. And he's talking about making the Royal Observatory in Greenwich a working research centre again. So they're trying to do some kind of robotic telescope there. So that should be interesting. A guy called Daniel Grant who did a lot on medicine in space and described bones before going to space, like crunchy bars. and bones after coming back from space like arrows. Which
Really?
is a really good way of describing it. So, like, you snap open a crunchy bar, and that's what your bone looks like.
Yeah.
Before going to space, and when you crack it open, an arrow open, that's what your bones look like after.
That's terrifying.
I think this analogy might only work for our English
I'd like
listeners.
to know a lot more. I'll save all my questions for another day. Otherwise, we'll be here forever. But that's really interesting.
Was cool. And then we had John Coleshaw do a little speak about exoplanets, because
he's a legend.
He's obsessed with exoplanets and gives these beautiful descriptions of what it must be like on each of these exoplanets. But the fact that he does it in Patrick Moore, Brian Cox, and Carl Sagan,
did he do?
His Carl Sagan was so amazing. Do you know what? It's really in about 3 weeks' time, Jamie, I'm going to unveil my Carl Sagan impression. I'm going to work on it.
You've got to work on it, haven't you?
I'm going to work on it.
Okay.
It is so cool. And we had all these little, what are called T5 talks, which are sort of quick-fire presentations that took 5 minutes.
Nice.
I'll give you an example. The one that really sticks in my head is a guy who wanted to colonise Titan. He thought that should be the thing that we should be doing, colonising Titan.
Colonising Titan sounds like one of your old band names.
Oh, come on. Give it up with the
I love that. I won't let it rest, will I?
No, this was a guy called Michael Urban. And it was really interesting. He and Harriet was there, of course. She was running the event, and she was, interviewed the mighty John Coleshaw, so that was fun. And I met some really good people I've been meaning to meet for a long time, so it was fantastic.
Well, it sounded like it was amazing. So I look forward to going to the next one. I will not miss it.
Yeah, indeed, you won't.
So, Matt, we have an interview.
Yeah.
In this show, can you tell us about who that's with?
Yeah, that is with Olesya Myakonkaya, and she is a doctor of material science, I think.
And you've known her for a while, and
I've known her for a while
at the Mars event.
At the Mars Nation. Well, Mars Nation is this thing that she's set up, and this is what she's going to talk to us about in this next interview. So, écoutez.
Roll the tape.
So we're back in the British Interplanetary Society Library, one of the coolest places ever. Lots of books, and I'm sat here with the founder of Mars Nation, Olesya Myakonkaya.
Hi, Matt.
Hello.
How's it going?
Very well, thank you very much. Well, I mean, it's been, all of 5 days since I saw you last.
That's true.
At spaceup. So, yeah. What I want you to talk about, though, is not spaceup, is talk about Mars Nation. Can you tell us a little bit about Mars Nation?
Sure. Mars Nation is a series of events where enthusiasts and experts can make an impact on Mars colonization and participate in Mars colonization by solving grand space exploration challenges. And you don't need a science degree. The idea is if you have a background in any field, art, science, design, tech, anything, the ideas that you're going to come up with a bit of help from experts and a lot of play are going to be amazing. And something to die for, something that ESA and NASA would actually want.
Yeah.
Because I imagine they would have a very specific set of skill set in their teams, whereas what we're getting here is people extremely passionate, who make drones, who create apps and have coding skills, for example, scientists, designers, visual artists coming together to create something unique.
So it's almost, instead of crowdsourcing money or crowdsourcing brains and ideas, yeah.
I would say it's an ideas-making event.
Yeah, you're going round farming, I suppose, ideas almost from left field so that they're not the normal, like you said, ESA and NASA have obviously got their team of experts that sit in rooms with bits of Lego trying to solve problems. but you're,
I love that.
I know, I love it too. I love the thought that there's people sitting there with Post-it notes and Lego. It's my favourite thing. But you're saying that there's people out there who have an intelligence that can add to the story in the same way that you get amateur astronomers, I suppose, who add a lot to astronomy.
Absolutely, and there are two sides to this. First, there are skills that are being overlooked just because it's not on the radar of a massive agency like NASA or ESA, but are potentially unique and can be used in a totally different way to what they're used now. And the second part is people who work in various companies that are involved with IT or law or anything to do with digital applications would love to do something really cool like space.
Yeah.
And it's giving those people a chance to use their skills for something extraordinary.
No, absolutely. I really like the concept of lots of times there's scientists. In fact, I was trying to think while you were talking there. I was trying to think of a really good example. But there's a really good example, say, when scientists were trying to think of the structure of this carbon atom that they'd managed to get out of the some experiments, and they'd found a carbon atom. They knew it was C22 or something, and they were thinking, well, what on earth's its structure? And they just couldn't work it out. And then someone who makes footballs went, well, it's like a football. You get lots of hexagons, but you have the occasional pentagon in there as well to make it work, and that's how a football's made. It's like, oh, duh, yeah. So you have all these clever scientists, but actually sometimes someone comes along with an idea from another discipline where it's nice and easy for them. For them, they've got all those solutions, and is that the kind of thing that we're looking to try and do with
I
Mars
really
Nation?
believe that if you want to be creative, you have to find many different interests, and some of the ideas come from totally unexpected places.
No, absolutely. I mean, you could almost say that Einstein's ideas came from a particularly, a patent clerk in Switzerland. What isn't quite what you're expecting.
And Richard Feynman and all these guys, it was just extraordinary how they combined all these different interests and writing.
Oh yeah, no, the Da Vinci model's really quite exciting, isn't it? Of having people that sort of have lots of interests and don't get too bogged down in the one interest, so that they're going so far down this one rabbit hole that they can't see the wood for the trees, I suppose, is the...
A Renaissance person.
A Renaissance person.
Here we go.
So I guess, yeah, so Mars Nation is a Renaissance society.
I like that.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, that's excellent. And I do like, yeah, the conjuring up of Richard Feynman, because I think Richard Feynman's like the embodiment of that. As long as you're creatively thinking. He actually annoys certain physicists because they think that, if only he'd settled down and just like concentrated on one thing, he would have been amazing. It's like, well, wasn't he amazing enough? The reason why he managed to do all this other work is because he had all these other interests, drawing,
and you can't predict what you would have missed if he didn't have all his side interests.
Yeah, I mean, his bongo playing may have fed into his Feynman diagrams. You just don't know. Yeah, and that ability to teach as well, and to talk to people and to brainstorm, I think is really... And
explain something in such a way which is just really fun.
Yeah.
He's so humble and fun and silly.
Yeah.
And almost whimsical.
Yeah.
It's just my role model.
Yeah. I'm with you with Feynman. If it wasn't for Sagan, we'd talk about Feynman more on the show. So I was at the first event of Mars Nation. Can you tell us a little bit about your first event that you...
Yeah, so the first event was about mental health in space. All our events are dedicated to a specific topic. So the idea is you bring architecture, health, building society on Mars, science, communications, everything together, and you have your blueprint, everything you need to set a colony on Mars. And we started with mental health. We had training as astronauts. I had a fantastic speaker, Vincent from King's College, who's an expert in neuroscience, and he was getting us to do the attention division test.
Yeah.
How did you find that?
Oh, that was good. Although I'd like to have known whether I would have made a good astronaut or not. I'm assuming I would do, but I'm just too old now. Although one of the astronauts was 42 in that last pick, so I wasn't. I could have done it.
Could have just got it.
Scraped in, but it was good. Doing those tests were good, and he had some really, really interesting little things to say about psychology. It came up at Space Up as well, when there was a guy there, wasn't there, called Jazz at Space Up, who was a psychologist, expert, and trains astronauts.
Yeah.
And the one question I have is, how do we know what the best psychological makeup of someone to go to Mars is, when we literally have a pool of nobody has been to Mars can make
That's
it?
really interesting. So I was translating for a delegation of astronauts and cosmonauts, and worked a little bit with Helen Sharman last May, when there was a massive celebration, 25 years since her space flight, and her entire crew came to London, and it was Sergei Krikalev, Artsebarsky, and Afanasyev. And I did ask Sergei Krikalev, he spent more time than the majority of astronauts. I think he's the second longest space flight. So I did ask, what does it take to be an astronaut or a cosmonaut? And he said health. That's the most important thing. You can learn technical skills, you can memorize languages, but you have to be exceptionally healthy, both physically and mentally.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was another talk that was really good at Space. It was the of keeping someone healthy in space and having a medical emergency would be. You have to basically the bigger the space journey, the longer the space journey, the more equipment you would have to cope with medical emergencies.
And that's why we focused on mental health as the very first Mars Nation. And we tried to make it incredibly immersive, with people jumping up and down when it was the attention test, and then crowdsourcing solutions to mental health problems, because there have been some very challenging situations when there was a mass hallucination in one of the Russian missions, or Soviet missions.
Yeah, tell us about that, because that was really interesting.
So the whole crew smelled something toxic, and they didn't know what it was, but of course there was a lot of fear that there might be potentially fire or explosion, and they were sent back to Earth earlier. But when there was an investigation, the Soviet Union couldn't find any fault. And the doctors just concluded it was mass hallucination.
Yeah, that's deeply worrying, isn't it? And you think, imagine if that had happened on a trip, say 4 astronauts on a trip in an Orion capsule on the way to Mars, and that sort of thing starts happening.
Absolutely. And when I speak to cosmonauts like Artsebarsky, he says the most important thing for an astronaut is to complete the mission, full stop. That's it. You have to... There's so much pressure on you to complete all the tasks that you were sent there to do. And if you don't, it's horrible, because it takes years to train and get there. And
yeah, I mean, that's... I'm reading Mike Massimino's book at the moment, and he describes his Hubble fixing spacewalk. It's like every minute costs £16,000 or something ridiculous. $16,000, I should say. And you think, and you go wrong. That's it. You're the person that busts the Hubble. It just doesn't even bear thinking about.
Exactly. And there was another situation where one of the astronauts had a cold, and the other members of the crew had to perform tasks on his behalf, but he was so stressed out and he felt so horrible for not performing to the best of his ability because of his health, that he just broke down.
Nasty. Yeah, well, I mean, there was one. There's a famous one, isn't there, that someone paid to go up to the space station, a senator or something like that, and they were so ill for the entire time that they were there. They had the worst case of space sickness that now they've named anyone who gets space sick after him. So it's like I wish I could remember his name. I'll put it in the show notes. But it's a very funny story because like everyone just basically, if you're slightly sick, it's known as doing a somebody. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But it's I mean the psychological pressures are enormous, and it's quite funny that whole thing of they're really, really focused on their job while they're doing it. But Mike Massimini, when he got back down to earth, he had, he obviously found it extremely emotional because he was essentially overwhelmed. He didn't know whether he was happy, sad, or what, but he was just in tears, overwhelmed. All of a sudden, just couldn't really cope with the overall immensity of being out in space, looking at the Earth, fixing the Hubble. And then the stress of going up and down in a space shuttle launch. You think, that's a massive, and of course that's only for a few days. Or,
exactly.
And when you're in the space station, that's only for 6 months. But the trip to Mars and getting there, and then, I mean, I always think the real horrible one is when you're at Mars, when you're actually on Mars, there's going to be a point where you're hundreds of millions of miles away from home. And the Earth's the other side of the sun. And
there's a time delay.
And you can't talk to anyone. Well, I mean, there must be a period where you can't even talk to someone.
Yep.
Like, horrible.
And that's why we came up with this amazing idea of VR-powered pet to keep astronauts alive at our Mars Nation. Here we go.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah, the VR pet. The same one that presumably, I think it was Harriet that came up with it, wasn't it? And it was the same one that they have in Japanese retirement homes to keep the old age pensioners happy.
That's true.
They hang them out, and they're just this nice little pet that you can sort of comfort. And I think there's definitely
something in it.
There's definitely something in that. But I thought one of the really funny things of that night was that when we all were trying to think of solutions, there was 3 teams, wasn't there? And pretty much we all came up with the same solution of VR. And one of the problems, because we all had to come up with our own problem, or what we thought a significant problem was. And I thought one of the really cool bits was one of the teams, their significant problem was the problem of being cooped up in a capsule and finding your own space. And so actually trying to get away from people. And their solution was, well, VR, you just stick the VR thing and you can get away from them.
Sure.
And our problem was feeling lonely. And the solution was putting on your VR. So the solution of VR seemed to be for 2 completely different emotions on the travel. And I thought that was really interesting. And it's almost like, well, only one of those can really be right. But I just thought that was a really interesting thing.
I love that. So it's interesting. We gave you guys a problem. How can we improve mental health of astronauts? But what you've actually done is broken it down into sub-problems. And each team independently came up with a different one, depending on what they were passionate about.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I mean, we there was a whole heap of problems that we sort of started down, and it was like, well, which one is going to be the sort of the killer one? And for us it was loneliness, but for the other ones it was being, the company of others was the most annoying thing for them, which I thought was really funny. But it's definitely a massive problem. With that in mind, with Mars Nation, so Mars Nation, it's really to do with the trying to overcome the problems of human spaceflight, isn't it? Really, on the whole. So it's not concerned with anything other than that. So I mean, for example, if the Earth turned around to everyone and said, "Well, we're never going to send humans to Mars," would Mars Nation then sort of would you feel as though it's lost its reason? Is it really just about manned?
No, of course not. It's about space exploration in general and how you can develop new solutions to a variety of problems that could be used in space, but it could also be applied on Earth, and that happens all the time.
Yeah.
I know NASA ran an accelerator where the 3 winners came from the biological background, and all the three solutions were for Earth.
Right.
One was biofilms and treatment of bugs on the space station, which could impact water system, but equally it's important for water on Earth. Another one was analysis of blood. It could be handy for astronauts because it gives you a lot of information very quickly, but again, in remote parts of the world where there is no access to immediate medical support, something that could be quite useful. And my favorite one was aging and radiation protection.
Yeah.
Someone actually developed a way to block the molecules that cause cell damage, which is unbelievable.
Yeah, well,
we can all live longer and look longer.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Kurzweil dream, isn't it? That's why he's popping vitamin pills right now, going, I don't want to die. Yeah, that is really... It is fascinating how, solutions in space kind of filter back down, and you have solutions on Earth. As an acoustician, one of my favourites is the vibration that they stuck, the sort of to stop rockets from vibrating themselves to pieces on the launch pad. That's made its way into virtually every building in the world now. Any sort of tall, high-rise building has to have this kind of stuff in it.
I didn't know that's where it came from.
Yeah, and so it makes them earthquake-proof and things like that. So I love that, and I think that's one of the sort of biggest justifications of people going into space in the first place, because it's always pushing our engineer. It's almost an example of thinking about one subject and it actually turning out to be more useful in another area. A bit like Mars Nation has this idea of people who are experts in one field and have nothing to do with space, trying to come up with solutions for space. I think it's almost working the other way around, isn't it?
And I really believe that in a lot of cases, the best solutions come not predefined. You don't know what the outcome is.
Yeah.
It's totally unknown. You don't know what you're aiming for, and that's scientific experimentation.
Yeah.
And that's not fearing failure,
Yeah.
but using this process of iteration and failing quickly, learning, and coming up with something that you couldn't have predicted.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that's the main bugbears about NASA, isn't it? It's that they have an anti-failure. Failure isn't an option at NASA. So it's kind of you've got that culture there, so which does put a stranglehold on innovation. And then you've got people like Elon Musk, where it's fail fast.
Yeah.
So he's extremely innovative.
It's about how much you have to lose.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess NASA's much more concerned with human spaceflight, and they can't lose people. When do you seriously think that humans are going to be stepping on Mars?
I would say 2035.
2035. We're going for 35 now. And do you think that these are going to be NASA astronauts, or just astronauts, as in highly trained astronauts and scientists, etc., or do you think, say, between 35 and 50, we might actually see the first attempts at colonisation, or do you think colonisation is a long way away?
I think that is probably going to start with robots, and you already have robots on Mars with rovers, but larger scale. I would say I do want to think that it's going to be a collaborative effort with different governmental agencies and private.
Yeah.
SpaceX and smaller companies impacting Mars colonization and making the first move all together. I really hope this is how it's going to be.
Yeah. But is it hope? I mean, I sit here and I don't think there's anything I would like more than to think that mankind could go out to Mars and colonize it and spread out into the cosmos. But as we sit here in the British Interplanetary Society, Arthur C. Clarke House, Arthur C. Clarke himself said, we'll colonize space, but not like this. Meaning we're not going to do it as humans. And that's the thing that kind of I think is a really deep question is we sit there trying to find solutions to biological problems, and maybe there isn't one. I mean, maybe we are just too biologically attached to the planet where we've evolved.
Oh, but then we're inherently curious.
We are,
and we'll do anything to see Mars ourselves.
Yeah, no, true. And I think, well, we are seeing Mars, aren't we? I mean, Curiosity, for example, is rolling around, and we see Mars in
first hand.
Yeah, but see, this is first hand. This is the exciting thing, isn't it? Because this topic came up at spaceup as well. Is like, well, if you stick on virtual reality goggles and you really couldn't tell the difference between being there and not being there, then does it matter that you're not there? So, say if we've colonised Mars with robots, and you say, "Well, I really want to see what it's like on Mars." We are that I can see quite easily that in the next 10 years we'll actually have pretty good technology to walk around, to feel like we're walking around Mars. Or do you think that's a bit like going to a rock concert and watching a band mime? Even though it sounds great,
I think it's worth it. I believe it's worth it.
Good. I mean, I do too, but I'm just playing devil's advocate. I just because there's a little bit of me that does worry that the human effort to get these big bags of fluid and bacteria out to Mars.
We have all the technology to get there. We have the technology to create an environment which is sustainable. It's just about funding.
The funding thing, I totally agree in terms of, say, for example, back in the days of Huygens and Cassini, where the cost of sending a ship to around the world was more than we spend now on space exploration. But they were heading to, there's an instant benefit of finding land that is reasonably easy. Would have been still ridiculously difficult back then to colonise the Americas or things like that. It's still profoundly dangerous, but people are prepared to do it. But to colonise Mars is something else altogether, isn't it? I mean, that's just it's just so far away. It's just ridiculous. But
I want to see it in my lifetime.
Yeah, I know. I want to see it in my lifetime. Yeah. So I guess Mars Nation is a massive effort to do that. Then, really, isn't it? It's to
give people an opportunity to do it now.
Yeah.
To have an impact now, and not to speculate 20 years how it's going to turn up.
Yeah.
Because you are, no matter who you are and no matter what your skill set is, you are participating in it.
So you're democratising almost.
Democratising space industry.
The space industry, aren't you? Or the very notion of space exploration itself is being dragged down so that people can really have a massive impact on it if they choose to do it.
Absolutely. And you can have a different kind of involvement. You could come up with ideas and have a great time, that's fine. Or you could take them further. You could have a great idea and pull together a team and create a startup.
Yeah.
It depends on what your motivation is and how much effort are you willing to put into it.
Yeah, it's like one of those crazy careers that you never really planned on having, and then you suddenly end up going, hang on a second, I'm in the space industry. Solving one of mankind's deepest problems. Yeah.
Exactly, because unless you meet people who are experts in space industry, you don't know how you can apply your skill set in a totally different way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really good as well, just to engage people with space itself. Because I genuinely think that most people find space really, really fascinating, but it's quite hard for them to ever have an outlet for them to sort of find this fascination in space. And you see it when you see these great websites on space or great blogs and obviously the Interplanetary podcast.
Yeah, like exactly.
Something like this enjoyable and like it. People love space. People do love space, and I think like to have the opportunity to sort of be part of it. I think maybe people feel they can't be part of it because of the old rocket science, and it's it's difficult, but it's not difficult. Maybe they hold the key maybe an artist or holds the key to something really, really profound.
It doesn't have to be boring.
Yeah.
It's up to you how you can stretch your imagination and how you can stretch your skill set.
Have you got any thoughts about what the next event will be around?
Yes, so we're looking into exploring building bases on Mars and architecture and bringing architects to explore the wonderful topic of space exploration. And we hold our events at Newspeak House, which is a political technology community. And it will be very interesting to see how politics and nation building and space law and the social sciences come into play.
Do you know what? For that particular event, I think that the Newspeak House, because it's right in the heart of Shoreditch, and it's like it's a super cool place. I mean, it was just cool going there. I thought it was like wow, this is really cool. It's quite inspirational, isn't it?
You just meet people that you wouldn't meet otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely, and that, I guess that's where the magic happens, isn't it? In fact, you look back on lots of things that happen in history. They were, happened in coffee shops and things like that, didn't they? Where you got groups of like-minded people and they met places. In fact, Benjamin Franklin used to set up those sort of places himself, just because he wanted to become more knowledgeable. He would whichever city he'd go to, he'd invite all the cleverest people he could find, and they would have these little events and they would have these little discussion groups.
There is a parallel.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it is very. I wish for the life of me I could remember what he called them. He had a special name for these, almost like little communes, but it wasn't communes. I wish I could remember. Again, my mind. I've been trying to think of it all day long, what the name of it was. But yeah, it's such a great idea, and that's when he first. I think it was when he moved to somewhere like Philadelphia or something like that. He thought, well, I've got to better myself. So that's what he did. He had these special rules as well, that you had to bring a topic to talk about, but you weren't allowed to be too emotionally attached to it. So that if everyone talked about this topic, you weren't ever allowed to sort of get emotional about the topic. You had to listen to everyone's point of view and take it on board. And that was like the number one rule, that everyone was allowed to have a say. However much you thought they were wrong, you still had to try and take it on board. It's brilliant. I just thought it was such an ace idea, and at each, you could bring whatever topic you want. But this, I guess, is bringing the Mars. This is the Mars topic. But everyone brings what they can to the table.
Yeah, and I love the idea of not getting attached to your ideas, because that's the only way you can develop as many solutions as you can possibly can. And one of them might be good, but most of them would be crap, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The amount of times where I've convinced that I was going to do it the right way, and then someone else does it, and you go, "Oh my God, my idea was rubbish," and now I can clearly see that theirs was much better than mine. And I think so. I think it's a really good scientific way of thinking as well. That whole idea of letting go of something that you thought was really true.
Yeah, and we use design thinking to design Mars Nation. And that's the same concept lies in design thinking as it is in science thinking.
Yeah.
You iterate and you learn and you get feedback as much as you can. And then you come up with something new, but you don't get attached to it. You constantly iterate. And the more you iterate and the more different angles you look at, the higher chances of success are.
I mean, the Mars Nation event itself, I thought was really cleverly done. Where we had a few lectures and lots of material shown to us first of all, so we felt like we were kind of getting some kind of knowledge. But then that whole thing of them bunging the emphasis back onto us, so that we had to start thinking about the problems ourselves. I thought it was brilliant. I genuinely think I've even taken that into the classroom.
Oh, fantastic!
So it was good. It was really good. So that it was such a really, really good event, and I definitely can't wait to the next one.
Oh, I would love to see you again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So anyone interested, how can they get in contact, and how can they get involved right now?
You could go on marsnation.space, Mars Nation one word, and sign up for our newsletter. You can hear more about our next events. If you'd like to volunteer, if you'd like to speak, there is an email address provided on the website. looking forward to getting more people involved in space exploration.
Excellent. And of course, if you do that and then come down to New Speak at the next event, I'll be there too.
Yeah,
we can
extra bonus.
That's the extra bonus. Even Jamie might stop going around the world. He might even come as well. You just never know.
Yeah, come for some free crisps.
Yes, the free crisps were good. I even got. Do you know what? I even got a free macaroni. Some kind of I even got some free pasta dish.
It was worth it.
Yeah, it was totally worth it. In fact, I had 2 pasta dishes in the end because Jamie couldn't have it, so I took it home and had it the next day. So it was brilliant. It was really, really, really cool event. Thanks very much. Thanks for telling us all about Mars Nation.
Thank you for inviting me.
Isn't she a legend?
Brilliant catching up with Olesya. She's a great deal of fun and one of those people that's genuinely making space ace.
She totally is. It's not just me and you.
It's not just me. It turns out that there are other people.
Do you know what was a bit embarrassing, Matt? Is I didn't realise that she was Russian, and during the Mars Nation event, she spoke some Russian, and I thought, wow. And I asked her afterwards. I said, "Your Russian accent is really amazing." She said, "Yeah, I'm Russian."
Not just Russian. She's a Muscovite as well.
That'll be that. Yeah. So. A little bit embarrassing, but that's all right. Yeah, so that was incredible. Well, guys, thank you once again for listening. And please continue to like and subscribe and leave a comment on iTunes because, now me and Matt have got a taste of the celebrity life. We just want it to go further from there, don't we, Matt?
Indeed, we do. So
I reckon in about 5 years' time, we could afford maybe a really nice condenser mic.
Oh,
if we keep going like this, can we?
Yeah, or a sort of portable recorder so that I needn't be recording your Skype feed right now.
Matt, don't give away our secrets.
Oh, right, no.
We're professional podcasters.
This is. Oh, do you know what? This is the second intercontinental podcast.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, last week was London to Canada or Vancouver, and this time it's London to New York. New York. And
we also did Bob Richards, don't forget.
No, but that's an interview. I'm not counting the interviews because we've got several intercontinental interviews.
That's true. Well, long may it continue.
Absolutely.
We're basically a global podcast.
Yep. Global to the max.
We don't want to brag.
Right.
Oh, dearie.
I'm going to let you go, Jamie. I know you're in a hurry.
God bless you, and big love from the Big Apple.
Excellent.
Why don't you hit subscribe, you jerk off?
Are we allowed to leave that in?
No, I think that's a bit rude.
Why don't you hit subscribe, buddy?
Yeah,
that's my New York accent.
Why don't you hit subscribe, buddy?
Is that
Why don't you hit subscribe, buddy?
The wabbit.
Oh, that's good.
Watch out, John Coleshaw.
Well, yeah.
I'm coming for you.
John Coleshaw, wait till you hear my Carl Sagan impression. It's going to be...
I bet everyone is excited as I am.
I am really excited about it because I'm going to have to do it because I'd love to talk like Carl Sagan. It's so hypnotic.
It really is. Well, on that note,
bye, podcast.
God bless everyone. Bye-bye.
See you soon, Space Freaks.